news. President Trump is threatening a federal takeover of D.C. after police say a former Doge employee was brutally beaten in the nation's capital.
Truly unbelievable. Lucas Thomason joins us live in Washington. Lucas, these type of attacks have been happening for years now.
They sure have, Lawrence. Good morning also to Ainsley and Griff. For those eating breakfast, the image that we just showed you and we're about to show you again is tough to watch. The 19-year-old former Doge staffer known as Big Balls was beaten by a violent mob of minors in the nation's capital in a popular part of town, according to police. A 15-year-old man and a 15-year-old woman were arrested and charged with unarmed carjacking. The attack prompted President Trump to post, "Crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youth and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs." Trump warned if crime is not dealt with properly, he may be forced to take over.
Somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C., and either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Now, this summer, Edward Korestein, the former Doge lieutenant known as Big Ball, spoke to our own Jesse Waters. Elon Musk reacting to the attack on his platform X, saying, quote, "A few days ago, a gang of about a dozen young men tried to assault a woman in her car at night in D.C. A Doge team member saw what was happening, ran to defend her, and was severely beaten to the point of concussion. But he saved her. It is time to federalize D.C." Here's a look at those recent attacks this summer. Back in May, a House staffer was the victim of an armed carjacking in the Navy Yard next to Nats Park. In July last month, a congressional intern was murdered in a crossfire from a drive-by shooting. And now, Big Balls left bloodied after this attack. President Trump says he wants gang members over the age of 14 to be prosecuted as adults, guys.
I'll tell you the tale of men who answer the calls. Stand up to the animals. Witness the rise of big balls. Lift them high, lift them proud. Lift up the men with big balls. Big balls. Guardians of angels. Stand up to the animals. Big balls. But guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day? What day it is? It's hump day.
Crazy. We have a serious show today, okay? We're going to talk about serious topics. But we did have a Big Balls bat symbol, so that's really something. Make sure that gets tweeted right away. The big balls bat signal is important, and the internet needs to see it. Well done, Jerry. As ever, such an artist. Shout out, Jerry, in the chat. Making sure that this show stays peak and that we are constantly providing for you and that we are constantly able to deliver for you and that we are constantly listening to you. You will not find a single show or channel on the internet that is more locked in with its core audience, and that is why we have an announcement to make. We will be delivering for you. You demanded that we go and expose Jasmine Crockett. Well, it just so happens that Jasmine Crockett's been yapping her little yapper quite a bit this week. And we thought, well, maybe now is exactly the time to deliver on what this audience demands of us, which is another expose. The last one on AOC did 20 million, 40 million views. It's very damaging to AOC, actually. And maybe Yasmine can get it too. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you know, like a green dildo at a WNBA game, we just keep flinging them. And so we're gonna land soon in Dallas. And I want to give you a programming note that this will be our last show, I think, of the week. We'll see. You know, we always travel with the equipment, but we're going to be hitting the ground running in order to get a couple of different projects done. And so we're going to, let's lock in for this last stream. This is a very important one. But the reason why the show will be off the air for the next 2 days will be because we will be delivering on your requests. And get ready. We plan on publishing our expose on Jasmine Crockett. We've been working on it behind the scenes on Sunday. I think that will be the release day. All right. Sunday. So lock in. We're going to deliver for you. We are here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Today is Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. Trump threatens a federal takeover of Washington, D.C. the way it should have been. D.C. home rule was only passed in 1973. After Doge employee Big Balls gets attacked. Oh, wow. Another innocent civilian who's actually a productive member of society attacked by the parasite class in our nation. Beaten and bloodied, left for dead in the street. That's exactly what happened. We've been talking about another circumstance where this happened, of course, in Cincinnati. We have big updates today. We will be airing the first exclusive interview with Holly, and that'll happen live here on the show. Holly's Give, Send, Go has surpassed $500,000, and we've changed her life. And I just want to say thank you for reminding everyone what America truly is. You, the productive class, not the parasite class. It's despicable, and we're going to talk a little bit about it because it's affected all of us, hasn't it? Adam Schiff is under criminal investigation for mortgage fraud, and also Howard Stern has lost his show along with Stephen Colbert. My, how the mighty have fallen, yet this program roars on and is doing record numbers. And so thank you very, very much, Stephen Colbert in the breadlines, Howard Stern in the breadlines. Hopefully they can have their own little cry circle in their TDS therapy session couch. Yes, we look forward, ladies and gentlemen, to having the full Holly interview played live right here. She will be our guest today. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Go gold in the golden era. Ensure that you are locked in for your future. Kenneth Rogoff is the IMF chief economist, and he has a new book out called Our Dollar, Your Problem. It's about how rising debt, inflation, and global de-dollarization can really threaten your retirement. You can get that free book today when you call Advantage Gold. Advantage Gold will send you a free copy of Our Dollar, Your Problem when you schedule a one-on-one precious metals appointment. Text Benny to 85545. Benny to 85545 to learn how to legally move your IRA or 401k into physical gold and silver, avoid taxes and penalties using a little-known IRS-approved strategy, and how to receive up to $10,000 in free gold and silver. Protect your retirement today before it's too late. Text Benny to 85545. That's Benny to 85545, or visit AdvantageGold.com to claim your free copy. No cost, just the truth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start off the top with some news about someone who's near and dear to our show. ALX actually has a personal connection to Big Balls and the Doge team. This is an individual who's been on the news before. He was on Jesse Waters' show. Big Balls is not just a meme. He's a real person. And his name is Edward Constantine. And he's a young man who absolutely deserves a shot at making the country a better place. And he's engaged. I think, how old is he? ALX? How old is he? He's like in his 20s. And he's left everything in, oh wait, hold on. He's 19. Okay, so he's almost in his 20s. Edward Constantine, famously named Big Balls, at 19 years old, has decided to sacrifice everything, a very promising career, could do anything he wanted, and decided to move to Washington, D.C. to fix the rot and corruption in our federal government. What an honorable thing to do. What an honorable young man. Now, what else did he do? Well, he stopped a mugging and robbery in a place called DuPont Circle. Now, DuPont Circle is very close to the White House. DuPont Circle is a place that is very expensive to live in. There are fancy little stores there, little shops, little liberal bookstores and coffee houses and so on. DuPont Circle in Washington, D.C. is right next to Embassy Row. It's the vast majority of embassies around the world exist on or around DuPont Circle. So it is a very haughty and very expensive and very prestige area. Big Balls witnessed a crime happening in broad daylight in the middle. It's like right on the street. A woman was being attacked, mugged, and robbed. And Big Balls, true to his name, stepped in. And like the vigilante he is, with the bat big balls bat signal up in the sky. He decided to intervene, throwing, of course, all care to the wind. And for his trouble, he was left bloodied, nearly dead on the street. This is the young man, again, who has begun his young life just wishing to make our federal government work better for the people. And this is his reward, near-death experience. The group of young youths, as President Trump called them, beat big balls and did so because, well, these 8 thugs know that they'll just be sprung directly from prison. They know that they'll be sprung from prison because Washington, D.C. is a failed state. Let's go ahead and read President Trump's Truth Social, and then I'm going to just chime in here ever so quickly with something a little anecdotal from my end, because there's a reason why we broadcast out of the free state of Florida. Crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent civilians at the same time, knowing they will almost be immediately released. That's a matter of fact. They're not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them. But it's going to happen now. The law in D.C. must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a very long time, starting at the age of 14. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must remain safe, clean, and beautiful for America, and importantly, the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get this act together quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run the city how it should be run and put criminals on notice that they're not going to get away with this anymore. Perhaps it should be done, had been done a long time ago. Then, this incredible young man, as President Trump posts this photo, and many others would not have to go through the horrors of violent crime in the city. I am going to exert my powers and federalize Washington, D.C., make America great again. Washington, D.C. is our capital city. We built this country. No parasite class has any right to go through and make it anything other than our city. And what do I mean by our? What I mean by our city is that this is one of the most visited cities of all nationalities, all races, all people everywhere. The nations of the earth go to Washington, D.C. because it's the seat of Western civilization. And so if Washington, D.C. is in a state of collapse and crime and horror, then what does that say about Western civilization? What does that say about Christendom? What does that say about us as a people? If we're allowing the crime in Washington, D.C. to overtake the law and order, then that means that Western society has failed. And it mustn't be. This is also imperative for the future of our nation, because you have to be able to have good people live and operate in Washington, D.C. in order to save this country. There are many, many good people serving in the Trump administration right now. If they are being murdered in the street, that's not good. It will prevent good men and good women from moving there. I used to live in Washington, D.C. very quickly, because nobody likes hearing someone talk about themselves. And I try as hard as I can not to even use the words I or me on this program. Nobody needs to hear more people talk about themselves, all right? We talk about big and bold things on this channel and the information that is important to you. But if you will allow me ever so quickly, because it's something that is profound in my life and changed me forever. I lived in Washington, D.C. for 15 years. D.C. had just defunded their police in the aftermath of George Floyd. The city was actually burning. They've wiped this footage from, it's ALX, you know what I'm talking about. ALX or Danny. I know Danny still lives in D.C. Danny's also an excellent producer, long time at this program. There's footage of the city burning from the sky, from a helicopter, and like the entire nation's capital's on fire. It looks like it's from a Hollywood movie, but it's real. I know that Danny has the clip, and I know that we played it before, but it's just wild. They refused to actually show or broadcast this stuff, and as soon as it was broadcast, it got ripped down. Anyway, I was living there, and just that's God's timing. My wife and I are having a baby, and my wife gives birth, and we bring our infant child home at the height of defund the police. We're very, very poor. We're living in what isn't the worst neighborhood right, is on Capitol Hill, all right? It's a neighborhood that's on Capitol Hill. Please put it up. That's great. Put it up. You can see the flames and the smoke rising over your nation's capital as the nation's capital is on fire. Look at the open burning of your nation's capital. Not since the British invaded and burned down the White House has the nation's capital looked like this. And I know there's other footage of it, but they've tried to wipe it from the American consciousness because they don't want you to see what they're capable of when they unleashed their army of animals on the city. Look at this. Look at your nation's capital. It looks like it's been invaded and that we've been conquered. We look like a conquered people, and we were. That's what they wanted. The Democrats at the time, Nancy Pelosi putting on the kente cloth and kneeling, this was them kneeling to Marxism and conquest. This is what they were attempting to do. Conquest. If we had let this continue, they would have toppled the Washington Monument. Mark my words, that Washington Monument would have come down. They would have said that is a symbol of white supremacy. It was on its way. How do I know this in certitude? Well, because I walked the monuments that morning after this riot, and they had spray painted the World War II monument, calling every World War II veteran a Nazi. They spray painted the word Nazi all over the World War II monument, saying there were too many white people that fought in World War II and they were also Nazis. You realize how broke-brained these people are, how smooth-brained, what like actual oatmeal sauce they are, like what they're willing to do. And there's a Lincoln statue in my neighborhood, and they were constantly putting nooses around it trying to tear it down. A statue of Lincoln freeing the slaves. This is the kind of gratitude that this nation is allowed. And they did everything they could. They actually were able to tear down multiple monuments in our nation's capital. Anyway, I'm not trying to rehash all this. I'm trying to say that this is really important because this is exactly what left Big Balls bloody on the street. This is exactly what left Holly bloody on the street. And it's exactly what nearly killed my child. Here's a photo of my home as it was burned to the ground. And this is a row house. My house is the one next door. So you see the yellow house, the brick house. The next house is mine. That gray house, that's mine. This is not necessarily the ghetto. In Washington, D.C., this is just pretty much your average block of row houses. There's my house right there, the white one. And because they defunded the police, they're like neighborhoods that were like kind of gentrifying like mine, where you just had a couple people, you just kind of like had people living peacefully together, turned into absolute gangland territory, and horror overtook my block. The night before this, there was a deadly shooting. I can play you the clip of that. This is from my Ring camera. This is my Ring camera. My house, okay? I can get this from World Star or anything. You can hear here if you can turn the... listen to the gunshots. There you go. This is my house where my child is currently sleeping. My newborn. Someone getting shot and then jumping into my yard. And then the next day, as retaliation for that gangland, again, I'm on 19th Street. The Capitol complex is on 9th Street. This is just a few blocks from the Capitol. This is just really close to where the seat of legislature is in our nation. Is a war zone, is a failed state Somalian, South African, South Sudan war zone. And I lived it. Don't tell me I'm being hyperbolic. After the shooting, a masked individual pours gasoline into the house next to mine, lights it on fire. The house goes up like a tinderbox, because it's Section 8 housing, of course. And then my house goes up with it. These are the firefighters having to break down the doors, having to rip open the doors of my house and my neighbor's house. Look at all the smoke. That smoke was in my daughter's nursery. That smoke was inside of my daughter's crib, where she was napping as a newborn. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ, we were able to flee. And there was, other than the house, there was no human damage. Nobody was burned alive in my family, and nobody perished. But they could have, and they would have. And so this is the direct result of the wokeness of Washington, D.C. It nearly murdered my family. My wife and my baby daughter were home at the time, my newborn, my firstborn. And so, yeah, I feel this kind of stuff very personally because it would have destroyed my life forever. I would have never recovered. And I can't imagine what Big Balls' family's going through right now. He has a mother and siblings and a grandmother and people who are watching him get beat bloody in the street. The only reason that it happens is because the criminals, and it is in any city, you can go look at the very simple math. It's like 2% of the population that commits 95% of the crimes. It's 2% of the population that needs to be incarcerated for the rest of their lives. And what's amazing is that crime begets crime. And so if you lock up that 2%, it's like they're like a contagion, right? It's parasitic. It's, the parasite spawns. If you lock that up, and we've already seen them do it in places like New York during the Rudy Giuliani 90s, if you take that element off the street and if you crack down on the parasitic nature of that element, and it can't spawn and move into more youths, as President Trump says. By the way, youths, young black teenagers who should be in school, presumably, rolling through my neighborhood constantly, on ATVs, on motorbikes, in the middle of the day, hurling rocks, hurling racial epithets. I mean, the number of times I was called a mayonnaise monkey. Constantly. Like having crackheads like chase you down, calling you cracker. Like threatening just for being white in their neighborhood. It is the sickest, most degenerate culture. It is an absolute pox on our cities. And it has to be stopped. For us to have a civilized country, it has to be the criminal element must be destroyed. Anyway, I feel this kind of stuff. So you're wondering, like, wow, like Benny, okay, we get it. Like, you feel bad for Holly. Let's move on. Well, for me, it was like a life-threatening situation. And so I feel when I see stuff like this, it really like pulls at my heartstring. And now President Trump calling for home rule in D.C. Now, what does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? Home rule, like, why? How could the federal government take over D.C.? Well, for 200 years, D.C. was run by Congress. D.C. is not a place. It's not a real place. The county that you're watching this stream in right now is bigger than D.C., I assure you. I was raised in Iowa, and the counties in Iowa are bigger than multiple DCs. DC is a teeny little speck. It was never intended to be a real place. It was only intended to be the seat of power. That's why it's called the federal city. DC's not real. It's never been real. It was simply supposed to be a very small, enclosed, tight federal city that is run through federal fiat, because the only purpose of this patch of swampland is to ensure that our federal government runs smoothly via the Constitution, and to have a place for the powers that are embodied and vested through that Constitution. You have to have a physical Supreme Court. You have to have a physical Congress. You must have a physical White House. Those have to be places, and that's what our founders decided, to build them inside of a federal city. D.C. home rule refers to the D.C. District of Columbia's self-governance established in 1973. So I assume there are people watching this stream right now that are older than D.C. home rule. It's not like this is we're not like trying to take down the cornerstone of civilization in this nation. This is from 1973. D.C. is not a real place. Trump needs to take it back over. 1973. How many other bad things were enacted in the 70s? How many? Like pretty much every government policy you hate, everything you hate about your federal government happened in the 70s, including this. This allows the residents to elect their own mayor, their own city council members, and advisory neighborhood commissioners. Oh, how's that go? To manage local affairs. However, Congress retains significant oversight power over the district, including the budget and ability to overturn local laws. D.C. Home Rule Act granted D.C. residents the right to elect their government, moving away from direct federal control. An elected mayor and city council, which has been a nightmare, elected advisory neighborhood commissioners, and Congress reviews all D.C. council legislation and budget. Congress can override D.C. laws, Congress can control the district's budget, and federal judges are appointed by the president in D.C. There is an ongoing discussion and legislative efforts to repeal or modify the Home Rule Act, largely due to concerns about crime, local government, and according to local news reports. Okay, so this is President Trump yesterday. I could not agree with him more. He spoke ever so slightly about it yesterday. It's a short clip, clients, like 17 seconds. Yeah, it's Trump just saying, you know what? Like, I'm sick of this. The nation's capital belongs to the people of America, and I am a representative of them, not Muriel Bowser. Do you remember those jackasses painted "Defund the Police" out front of the White House? They painted it right on the road leading to the White House. Right there on Federal Square, they paint "Defund the Police." They painted it. And then they painted "Black Lives Matter" right there, right in front of the White House, a scar on the face of our city. To take our federal city and then promote Marxism and death on the streets of it. Oh, it is a sickening moment. Thank God the Trump administration got rid of that blight on our people. But anyway, now it is time to reassert the control of the people in Washington, D.C., to lock up the presumably 1 or 2% that commit all of the crimes, and to make Washington, D.C. a city worth living in again, because you must have good people adjudicating your federal government. If you don't have that, your nation's lost. Go look at France. Just go look at England. And this is the first one of the many steps that must be taken. Okay, so here's President Trump talking about this yesterday.
By the way, I have to say that somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Here is, in case you're like, well, Benny, you just care about it because it's your dumb kid, right? You're a white kid. You're in the wrong neighborhood. You know, you were raising your family in the wrong neighborhood, dumbass. Like, in case you're wondering that, or you just care about it because it's a young white guy that works for Trump. You don't care about it when somebody else from the other side of the tracks gets hurt. Oh, really? You can find lots of tweets about me, this guy. Here's a dude. He's Hispanic. He's a Democrat. He's a member of Congress. His name's Henry Cuellar. He's from Texas. I don't know him at all. And I ranted and raved about this guy too. Okay? So you can shut up with that criticism. No. This dude, this member of Congress was carjacked in Washington, D.C., probably the same people that beat up Big Balls, stole this dude's car. He was wearing his congressional pin at the time. They don't care. They'll kill a congressman. They don't care. It's animalistic. It's a failed society. It's a failed, collapsed society. Democrat Texas Representative Henry Cuellar was carjacked at gunpoint Monday, right near his residence in the New York Navy Yard, area of Washington, D.C. You know, you could see the Capitol Dome when this member of Congress, this Democrat, Hispanic member of Congress at gunpoint was carjacked. It happened in the shadow of the Capitol building. How long until, like, members of Congress just get killed? How long until, like, and a Marjorie Taylor Greene? How long until people just get, good people don't want to run for Congress because they'll die in Washington, D.C. Man, what a shot there. Unbelievable. Pop that up. What a sickening thing. Look at what they did. And just for reference, I don't know if we can zoom out, but that's the White House right there. So you can see, of course, the White House complex. That's the park outside of the White House. And you're familiar with D.C. You've been to D.C. It's the White House. So, the parasite class didn't build this country. The productive class did. We built our capital city. It is gorgeous. Washington, D.C., at its best, is a very beautiful city with that, I think, really nicely when it's clean and when the homeless people are gone and when the tent cities are gone and when the crime is locked up. The city itself has great bones. It has beautiful monuments. It is a very nice place to visit at its best. It's very pretty in almost every season. This is, I think, Klein's footage of BLM getting ripped up. I think we even have actually a brick. Yeah, we have a brick. We plan on mounting it. A brick from the BLM Plaza. I'm gonna put it up as a scalp that we stole from a conquered civilization. So we conquered this. We, the American people, destroyed the Marxism that had overtaken our nation. Look at what they've done. Look at how hideous it is. Yeah. Anyway, this sort of ties in nicely to what we wished to talk about today and what we want to speak about when it comes to the preservation of our nation. And I love where this is going. And we're going to be exposing Jasmine Crockett's district for the crime-ridden hellscape that it is. And we're going to be using this show and the power of this program to change, I think, the directionality of the nation into a nation that needs to be safe again. I really like the fight against crime as something that the Republican Party has as a tentpole issue. It is really smart. Nobody wants to be living in a hellscape run by homeless people, degenerates, bums, and criminals. No one wants that. In fact, the reason that we have such a big problem with criminal alien immigration in breaking into our nation is because so many places on earth are crime-ridden hellscapes. And we must prevent it from happening here. And I love making this a core issue of what we plan on doing in America First. America First means law and order. America First means if you do a crime, your life is destroyed, and we will come and break you. And there will be a consequence for you harming one of our citizens. And I love that as the platform that people think about when they think about America First. That's a problem everywhere. It's our birthright. This nation is our birthright to walk the streets of this nation as conquerors. Safe and secure is our birthright. We've earned it. Your ancestors earned it, fought, bled, and died for it. So you can walk as a conqueror, safe and secure, and raise your children and family and continue their legacy safe and secure in this nation. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're going to be focusing on. And we're going to be doing a lot of work on it. And we're really thrilled about some of the work we've already been able to do. I know we covered it off the top yesterday, but it did make international news that Charlie Sheen, of all people, was donating to Holly. Written up in the Daily Mail here, Hollywood actor Charlie Sheen made a generous gesture of support to a woman who was severely beaten following the street brawl in Cincinnati. He gave $1,000. Conservative political commentator Benny Johnson launched the crowdfunding campaign Support Holly, mounting medical legal bills. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is a unifying issue. I wasn't planning on having the same politics as Charlie Sheen. I don't think I do. But it is a unifying issue. Wow, look at that. 530,000. 530,000 for Holly. We've changed her life. And ladies and gentlemen, this is more than just like one woman. This is about all of us and ensuring that we want to live in a place that is clean and safe for your daughter, for your mother, for your grandmother, for big balls, for absolutely everyone. And so, ladies and gentlemen, in a moment here, we're going to play for you an interview that we did with Holly. That is her first time on camera explaining her story and answering questions openly and honestly. We want to thank those who have generously supported Holly, and we're just very humbled by how much you have shown up. It shows the power of this audience, and I think you're going to be profoundly moved by hearing Holly's story. First, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are securing your financial future. What do they say? The Good Samaritan couldn't have been a Good Samaritan without money. He had to have some funds. He had to have some funds to pay for the hospital stay, and he had to be able to, buy the donkey that he carries the broken man on, and so on, right? The Good Samaritan has to be wise with his own household. And so we're thankful for you having donated. We're thankful for our friends at Allio Capital who have provided for us an investment vehicle that allows for us to have our nest egg grow. And that is what I use Allio Capital for. I invest personally with Allio Capital. It is an investment vehicle for me. It manages my portfolio through AI, and it navigates some of the complicated world of modern events, inflation rates, and so on that I just can't track every single day. All these little digits, ones and zeros. We're stuck in the studio doing this and letting her rip, and I just got to let that run itself. And Allio Capital is perfect for that. I'm a very hands-off investor, but if you're a hands-on investor, also works for you. This is macro investing for people who want to understand the big picture, and that's me. You should download their app in the App Store or Google Play. Text my name to Benny to 511-511, ALLIO Capital. Text Benny to 511-511. Download the Allio app. Text Benny to 511-511. Investing does involve risk, including potential loss of principal. Past performance does not guarantee results. Consult with your financial professional before making any investment decisions. All right. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We spoke with Holly, asked her every question on top of mind, and this is the first exclusive on-camera interview she's given. I think she's going to be all over multiple different shows in the ecosystem now, telling her story. It is an important story, but she decided to speak with us first in order to thank this audience, and I think you're going to find it quite profound. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is our world-exclusive interview. Holly from Dayton, Ohio, speaking to you, telling her story. Here we go. Holly, welcome to the program. It is an honor to have you on the program and to finally be able to speak with you. I know that we've worked together after this horrific event, and I think everybody is just so interested in hearing your story.
Well, first I want to say hi, Benny. I'm so excited to meet you. Yeah, I feel just so overwhelmed. You're just a great human and American. You literally have changed my life forever. And well, everyone out there has changed my life forever. So thank you all, literally thank you. Because I'm going through a lot right now, and we don't know what's permanent, what's not. There's some speculation of some neurological damage and this and that. But with the concussion, until that goes away, they won't know exactly, what is and isn't. But I am definitely going through a lot. So this helps to make sure to pay medical bills. And it helps with my security because I don't know if you all have seen the videos, but it's gone wild and rampant, and it's almost it's like a big conspiracy theory. And there are some angry people out there on both sides. And so I've had to have a security crew and go into a super secret spot, which we allowed the security guys to come into today. Wild. So yeah.
So why don't we take a step back and establish a couple of important things. And the first one is, how are you doing right now? I think that that's a big question as to, people have seen the injuries, they've seen the bruises, They watched the attack happen on social media. So many people horrified. What is your current state? Are you in pain? Are you suffering? How are you feeling right now, Holly?
So I just want to say I'm not okay, but it's okay to be not okay. And I know that sounds weird, but you know, I'm a huge mental health advocate, and mentally, like, I am not okay right now. I find it very hard to even leave the basement because I keep having panic attacks and keep replaying everything over and over. You know, even going out into the backyard, I'm just like certain noises, sounds, light, just different things. It's been incredibly traumatic. Along with the pain, I'm at about a 6 now, so it's functional. It's fine. Like I've been walking around with a cane the past few days. I was trying to be tough before and be like, I'm okay. But I realized it's okay to not be okay. Like if I need a cane because I'm losing my balance and my sight randomly, I have huge, now that this is clearing up, which that was horrific, but I have giant welts all over my body. My neck, right now I don't have it, but I've been wearing an airport neck pillow because I didn't want to wear a complete neck brace so I can try and strengthen the neck muscles. But I'll be sitting here, I'll be fine. And then all of a sudden my neck muscles stop working. So I literally have to just walk around and hold my head up. And then that's when I'll just, go and curl up in a ball. It just hits me in waves. I'll be, at a level 9 where just tears come pouring out and I can't even control it. And I know, like, even down to my ankles, because I was wearing heels when the man punched me and knocked me out. So it twisted my ankles. So we're still seeing if those are spraying or, so it's literally from my ankles up to my head. My spine is horrific. I haven't slept in days. The last time I slept is when I went to the hospital for the second time when my throat was closing up and I literally couldn't breathe because of all the swelling from everything that happened. The doctor said it's like a wave. So, for a few days there might be one thing and then something else is going to show up and it's like getting hit by a car basically. So my throat was swelling up and I literally couldn't breathe. I was wheezing and couldn't talk. So when I went to the hospital, they gave me medicine for the swelling and then knocked me out for about 12 hours, which was great. And I haven't slept in days. I can't. I toss and turn and my whole body hurts too bad, first off. But then second, if I get in a comfortable position for a minute, I just keep replaying everything. And I finally watched the video of me being knocked out, and it was just kind of like watching myself dead for a minute there. And it just makes me think, what would my children's life and my family's be like right now if my soul hadn't stayed in my body? So I'm not okay, but thank you everyone for helping me with your prayers and your love, because that's what's getting me out of bed. And it's pushing me to make sure that this doesn't happen to, because I'm a mom. I would never want this to happen to my kids. I wouldn't want this to happen to my mother. I'm someone's sister. My brother has been by my side and I could see the horror in his face, And so I don't want anyone, because it's not just me who's suffering, it's my family, it's my children, it is my mom, my brother, my aunt, uncle, like everyone who loves me. They're suffering too, because I don't even know how I'm not dead. Like I should be dead. And so many doctors have been like, you should be dead. So just thinking about that constantly of, what would have happened if I died. I can't shake it. And that's going to be with me for a real long time.
In that video, you were not only knocked unconscious, but then you hit the cement in a way that would have caused or could have caused a brain hemorrhage. these could have been your last moments living. And I assume the doctors have told you that.
Yeah, they said 25% of the time people die instantly when they hit their head like that. And then there's another 25 to 40% chance that I could have like gone into a coma and been a vegetable my whole life. And then if the guy had been 3 inches lower with his fist, he would have killed me instantly as well, because it would have hit my throat, trachea or whatever. And so they just, unfortunately, due to the media and everything going on, I've been forced to have to watch it. And then the doctors have to like replay it and watch it. And lawyers, I have a team of lawyers, and we have to go over it kind of like a football replay. And then just hearing of all the different ways that I should have died or should be a vegetable right now. I just think God has a purpose for me, and that's the only reason I'm still here. And that's the only reason I'm also not curled up for the next month, just hiding from the world, because I think that this has happened to so many people, and it's been swept under the rug for so long, and we're all just so tired of it. And, if I have to be the voice for this movement and show people, hey, if I can get out of bed and do this, and I want to give you all an emotional hug back for hugging me and picking me up emotionally. I want to do that for the nation and for everyone who's scared to leave their house, because for years I have been scared, to go do things and go live my life at night. And I just think the hatred has gone so rampant that people are they're normalizing using their fists for things. Oh, you don't like what I say? I'm just going to use my fist, and it's fine because the police will just let us out with a $200 bail, or whatever. So I want to help stop this, because it's not okay, and people need to be brought to justice. And not just for Cincinnati, but for the rest of America. This has just gone on too long, and it needs to stop today, and it needs to stop now.
Yes, it needs to stop, because there are so many mothers and children and daughters and innocent Americans who are affected the same way that you are affected, with rampant crime and criminality throughout our cities and our streets. Could you maybe give me just a little bit biographically? You are a mother. You have you have children.
I
Tell
do.
me just a little bit about your background.
I have I have 3 children. 2 are adult children. My son actually just got out of the Navy. God love him. He did his time serving our country. I'm so proud. My daughter is my oldest daughter is going to nursing school, and I have a 5-year-old. I have a special needs daughter. She has a rare syndrome. It's called Pierre-Robin syndrome. So I can't work right now, and my brain isn't working. Like I have to have a caretaker basically follow me around and help me, not just physically, but mentally, because I can't use my brain very well. So the thought of not being able to help her because she can't help herself, and she has different doctor's appointments, and she has forever care that she will need. This is what has me just so thankful to everyone too for all of your help, because I was so scared that I would be homeless, and my daughter, wouldn't be able to get the prolonged care she needs, because I've been working 2 jobs, make sure she will never ever go without. And then I was like, if I can't work, then we won't have somewhere to live, and then she won't have the care she needs. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Before we get to the enormous amount of love and outpouring of support for you, I would just like to ask, can you detail for us what happened that night? I know that there are a bunch of conflicting stories, and there's a bunch of videos, and there's a considerable amount of evidence. And now there's been 5 arrests, including one individual who was out on a felony violence, aggression and violence charge.
Yeah.
And so could you just detail for us what occurred that evening before your attack?
Well, Benny, I'm a single mom. I don't get out much. So I just wanted to go celebrate my friend's birthday and let loose for a couple hours. And, total innocent fun with all of us. And we got jumped. Bottom line, it was wrong place at the wrong time or just whatever. But yeah, so we got jumped when we came out. And I tried to break up a fight of a man getting attacked. And then I got attacked myself. So that's it. That's the bottom line.
That was apparent in the video. There were multiple beatings that night. You were the only person that stepped in to say, stop the violence.
Yes.
And for your trouble, you were punched in the face.
Yes, absolutely. There were 100 people there that night, and I jumped in. I was the only one who jumped in to try and save him because that was the right thing to do. And unfortunately, they attacked me as well for trying to do the right thing.
100 people around and no one called 911?
No one called 911 other than there was one person who was one of the victims who was able to get away to call 911.
Everyone just stood around because there's plenty of film of this happening. There's plenty of footage. So everyone was just standing around filming this attempted murder of everyone, you and others?
Yes. Yeah. So not one person decided to call 911 and then film these heinous crimes and attempted murder, because that is what it is. No matter what they label it, it was attempted murder. And not one person in that crowd. So shame on all of them who didn't call or at least try and help.
And so then when the police officers finally arrived, did they try and assist you? Did they do anything for you?
No. They took some of the people's information, not even all the victims, and they didn't call for backup. They didn't call for ambulance. They just kind of acted nonchalant, like it wasn't a big deal. And they were less than helpful is all I could say. So I wound up getting in my Uber when it showed up and went home and tried to sleep off the concussion.
This is astonishing to me. So you're there with a potential life-ending injury.
Yeah.
And the police do nothing for you.
No, nothing at all. They do not. Yeah, they didn't even get a statement. So no, the police were very opposite of helpful, whatever the word is. So they made me feel so uncomfortable that I felt safer getting in my Uber, thinking if I just go home and just go to bed, I'm safer than in Cincinnati, because one of the videos you can see where everything had kind of ended, then all of a sudden a new group of people came over and started attacking and drug one of the gentlemen into the streets in front of a car that was trying to go down the street. And so for the police to not call for backup when there were 100 people there, some of them ran, but there were still a lot of people there. At a bare minimum, they should have called for backup. Or the ambulance, or both.
You didn't get an ambulance?
No.
There was no ambulances? The police didn't bring an ambulance? That they just had to report?
No.
People are laying in the street?
No. They not only did they not get we all had blood all over us. I had taken both of my hands and wiped off the blood over right by them. And you would think that they would be like, ma'am, you can't go. You must let me get you an ambulance, come sit down. They looked at us like we were just a bunch of heathens and thugs. And, like we showed up there just to cause trouble. So, we can go home and deal with it ourselves. Or I don't know what they were thinking, but no, offered no assistance.
It's incredible. They never offered to even drive you in their car. I mean, a police officer could presumably drive you to the hospital, but they did nothing.
One would think, actually, I never even thought about that. No, not at all. They let me get into my Uber, and they didn't get my information. Actually, one of the other victims had given them my information the next day. And so that's when there was a detective who absolutely has been amazing. And he is the only one I could say incredible things about out of all of the everyone else that he works with.
It's just astonishing. There's a woman. It's one thing if two men are in a fist fight, but if a man goes and beats a woman within an inch of her life and leaves her for dead in the street, and the police don't even lift a finger to help, what the hell is going on?
No, they don't even get my name. They don't even care enough to get my name.
They should take their badges. I mean, this is just it's just awful. But we've seen some of the rhetoric coming out of the police department, so I suppose it's not surprising, even though it is awful. The chief, Tedage is her last name, of the Cincinnati police, she has come out and blamed social media for talking about this mob attack and for sharing the video and saying that social media is the problem and that actually the police were great. What's your response to that?
That made me laugh. So unfortunately, I cannot comment on that just yet. But just know that made me laugh.
Okay.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I think it made a lot of people very, very angry. It seemed like victim blaming. And the mayor has done the same thing. The mayor has done the same thing and brought people out. Has brought people out to say that you deserved a mugshot.
The councilwoman. What did she say? There was a councilwoman who said we got the beating we deserved, and then the next day went public and said I stand by my statement. There are other people saying that I deserve to be behind bars for whatever reason. And you can watch the video over and over and over. Like, I don't understand what I've done wrong, but this is the problem with our society. We have been so desensitized and we have been so shamed that people are afraid to come forward. I think the good people have been hiding and we have been scared and we have felt hopeless, helpless. We have just felt, what's the point of anything? Because I think that the higher ups are, they're in their own little bubble and they're doing their thing for their people. And if you're not part of that little club, then, how dare you try and say anything? How dare you try and say anything about any of us? And, otherwise we'll be victim shamed. We'll have our names smeared. And, so we'll back off. I'm not backing off. It adds fuel to the fire. I am not backing off. I am the voice for everyone who has been treated like this for so long. So I am done because I know so many people that have been treated like this. And it needs to come to light. Just know, I'm the one. I'm going to bring the light, and everyone who has been afraid can now speak their voices too. And I want them to all come together, and I want them to all start, writing your congressmen, the people who are trying to speak out and make a change, people above her, the higher ups. Tell them what has been going on with you and what your story is and why you feel that there should be change. And don't just say, fire her. I want you guys to say exactly what's happened to you and how long you've been scared and why, and be part of the solution and not the problem. Do not use your fist anymore because it's making it worse and it's making them just, not do anything. So let's start standing up together and use our voices.
Has the mayor of Cincinnati or the police chief been in contact with you?
No. Mm-mm.
So you are the most viral clip out of Cincinnati in a very long time and a very well-known name now. You've had thousands of articles written about you. You've had a lot of money raised in a give, send, go, and I want to get to that in just a moment. But that's astonishing, Holly, that the mayor of the city who's implicated in this and the police chief who's implicated in this have not even contacted you for the attempted murder that happened in their street live on camera.
Not only have I not been contacted, but I had to have the most ridiculous conversation with a New York Post reporter, and God love him. He was actually very sweet and kind, and I forget his name. I'm sorry. But they tried to say that I was a Russian asset or Russian spy, and I fled to Russia and all these different things. I'm not sure how or why this came about, or if they were like, oh, this will make the video go away. Oh, this will debunk her trying to talk. Or I don't know. Don't quote me on like what their thoughts are. Only they can explain it at some point in time, because we all want answers. So I was called by a lot of people who were like, hey, we need to know, are you affiliated with Russia? Are you a spy? Where were you born? I've had to have background checks on me. That's another reason I had to go into hiding and leave, because she caused so much public panic. And I talked to the New York Post and I'm like, look, I'm from Ohio. I'm Irish. If I have to do a 33andMe to prove that I don't have Russian blood, like I'm a realtor and insurance agent. Like I don't understand how or why. And I was like, where's this coming from? And he was like, just like, my understanding is that it had come from either the police chief or one of the people involved in that aspect. Mm-hmm. And I'm still trying to piece together some pieces, but the puzzle pieces. Yeah. But no, not only has she not reached out to me, but I have been, I thought I was going to get arrested for treason, and was like, am I going to, go to jail or prison in some unknown disclosed location, or get hung or whatever? Like all these things have been going through my head because none of it's making sense. So why not add more stuff that doesn't make sense?
So perhaps you could just clear this up once and for all for the record. Have you fled to Russia?
No, not at all. I have stayed in Dayton, Ohio, in discrete locations of Dayton. So and you are not a Russian. No.
I've heard many Russians. I've heard many Russian accents. And I live in a place with a lot of tourists here. We're pretty close to Orlando. We're in Tampa. And I hear Russian accents, and you don't have one.
No, not at all. And that's it. And also I'm not married to the Russians, Russian mob, Russian affiliates. I'm
so trying to victim blame. They're trying to, it's a tactic. They're attempting to victim blame and say that, you're the villain, right?
Yeah.
They're desperately trying to create a narrative that you are somehow the villain. When, if I'm to understand your story correctly, and I think the authorities understand your story as well, which is why they're so scared of this story, you were simply out.
Yes.
Celebrating a friend's birthday.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, presumably just because it was late at night and people were wanting to act stupid, and it was a very bad part of town, a group of... No. This was 1 block away from Jeff Ruby's. This is normally a good area. A good part of town. Oh, well,
yeah.
Even worse. Well, there we go. I've just heard that crime has skyrocketed in the Cincinnati area, and so things have all. So now, good parts become bad parts quickly in that environment.
Yes.
But if I'm to understand this, you were just jumped. You were jumped by a mob, and the mob then accelerated it by blocking first responders, by filming the attacks, not helping you, and encouraging as a complicit in the actions and the attacks on you, which I think by any reasonable measure can be seen as attempted murder.
I look at it, absolutely, I look at it as attempted murder. It was. They were not going to stop.
So, and then the city of Cincinnati, instead of hanging their head in a bag and apologizing and promising change, are tripling down on you being the problem?
Yes. Yes, tripling down on me and the other victims, and then trying to spin their own narrative that we were racist and or there's all these other speculations. We're part of Russian mob. We're all these things, and I'm like, just apologize and say you're gonna fix it. Just fix it.
Like I've seen these narratives, but I'm sorry, that doesn't cut it. That doesn't. In no world does that merit attempted murder. There's no merit. In no world does anything that happened that night result in 52 different kicks to the head of the gentleman on the ground, you being cold clocked multiple times and left for dead on the ground. It's actually morally repulsive for somebody to try and explain that away.
Yes.
And to say that you somehow deserved that.
You just gave me goosebumps. That you just put words in my brain that I've been trying to say. Yes, morally repulsive is exactly what it is, what they're trying to do. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, so then you had to call an Uber because no ambulance showed up for you, and no police officer assisted you. Is this correct?
Yes.
So then you were just left. You were left to You were left to die by the city of Cincinnati.
I mean, I didn't really think of it like that, but essentially, yeah, they were very negligent. Let's just say that.
Okay. So that is the story that many people feared was the truth. And now that we've heard it directly from you, it buckles into why so many people wish to support you. Yeah. Because you are a victim. You are a victim of a horrible crime, potentially a hate crime, and you also are the victim of attempted murder. And as you said, many people die who were in your same situation. And so seeing this, and we spoke with Senator Moreno, and he was on our show, and he said he'd been in contact with you. So we sort of hatched the plan live to let's just give people they have righteous indignation for you. Let's just start a fundraiser for you. And we went to Give, Send, Go, and we started this. This is actually my first Give, Send, Go that we ever began. And some wonderful people, incredible people have donated. It is right now at time of recording, just a hair shy of $500,000.
Unbelievable.
It is the #1 fundraiser in the country right now. And it is the #1 trending campaign and has been on the entire platform for days. And so I wanted to simply open up the floor and give you an opportunity to speak to your thousands and thousands of supporters, perhaps as we scroll through some of the donations here.
Yeah, I literally am just in awe. It's surreal. Thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to be able to heal and to be able to get the proper medical needs. I've been in and out of specialists, and I still have a long way to go. And all of you have been in my prayers, every single one of you. And you guys praying for me has just, I can't even talk. I can't. Thank you all so much for literally helping my life and to change my life and my children. Well, my other children are grown, but I'm like my little one who needs the help. We're not going to be on the streets. And I just don't even know what to say. Just the love from everyone, and the humanity, and the wishes, and the peace, and it just made me see how many people out there are still good, because for so long I thought the whole country was just full of shame and hate. And I just want you all to know too that you guys have a community of love. I don't even know what to say. You're all just beautiful humans. And let's just keep moving forward with love. Let's keep moving forward with love for your neighbor and your cousin and your coworker, and stop looking at them as white or black or foreign. Just please, God, just start looking at humans as humans again. And this just made me see, it's everyone on there. It's not just white people sending it to me. It's everyone of different nationalities and different colors, and different religious beliefs, different political beliefs. It's a melting pot, and I feel like everyone has put a blindfold on of all of these things and just said love, love, love. And if we could just go out into the world and have that same kind of blindfold and love for each other, we could be safe again, and our children could go outside again. And you guys just don't even understand. I think you guys have all just touched me. You've touched me. Thank you.
This made national news this morning that one of Ohio's most famous native sons, Charlie Sheen, personally donated.
Charlie,
wrote you a beautiful message actually here.
Yeah.
And described how he is a Cincinnati Reds fan, and that you are the real and true Ohio, and that real Ohioans stand by you, Holly, and that justice will reign. And then he donated. He also noted that he played a baseball player from Ohio in one of his movies, more famous movies, Major League.
He did. And I want to, can I say something to Charlie? Am I allowed to do that?
Please.
Okay. First off, I love you, Charlie. And you actually have inspired so many people with your recovery and your story. You went through some dark times and you came out of it. And by God, you are such an amazing inspiration to all of us. Like, you have just become a lot of people's heroes now, and so it just shows, anyone can change and everyone can change. There's good in all of us. So Charlie, you actually are a huge inspiration to me and a lot of people because of that. Also, you'll know what I'm talking about. So my uncle was part of Conrad's army, wrestler. So Charlie Sheen's and the Estevezes are family, and they're it was the grandpa or the uncle Conrad, who had national famous. Anybody in the wrestling world knew about Conrad's army back in the 80s and 90s. My uncle was a part of it. And he actually became a wrestling coach, started a team, and they have, they go across the nation. They have national champions. His own son is a state champion wrestler. But because of Conrad, he said he wanted to continue the legacy of Conrad's army. So Charlie, I just wanted you to tell that or know that little fun fact. So thank you.
What is it you'd like to see changed? You now have so many national political figures that are speaking about you and your story. Vivek was in Cincinnati yesterday, and he was talking about you in his big town hall over this. The senators have spoken about you. The vice president spoke about you, J.D. Vance. What is the change that you'd like to see happen?
So one thing, it actually, it started out, a lot of people started making comments. I've been reading some of the comments, trying to stay away from the bad, but some of the good comments, there are a few people who've thrown out, they said that they want Holly's law, which means that they would like to see moving forward, if somebody is recording a crime and they haven't called 911 first, that they can be, fined or prosecuted or, whatever. But I thought it was a law. Like, why is it not a law for someone to be able to stand there and then just film someone get attempted murder on 5 different people, during a giant mob attack. Or so many people these days are, first off, just trying to start fights so that way they can video it, put it online. And I think first, that's disgusting. But second, for someone to just stand there and not call the police, and I think that, in my opinion, they it's attempted murder too, like letting someone just sit there and die and not call for help. I think so many people and so many lives could be saved by making this a law that you can't post a crime online that you videoed, or you can't stand there and video it if you haven't at least called for help first. And I think that it would really help a lot of our cities, because so many people are trying to get hate clicks. And I call it hate clicks, just trying to get attention online with hate and do these different types of videos. And I think that it is becoming part of our culture to just video everything. And that needs to stop. That's one of those things that really needs to be shut down, and it needs to be shut down fast. So out of it, I would really like to see that. I would like to see the cities properly with police officers. I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but so many of them don't have enough police in force, and I think keeping the streets safe instead of, it just feels like martial law right now, where everyone's like, I'm just going to carry guns and knives to protect myself. The police officers are, some of them really are trying to help, but it's like they don't have enough task force out there. That's the word I'm looking for. Revamp the task force and start protecting people, because it's basically, we're all out there trying to protect ourselves. And I would like to see that change as well. And I think, if there is some corrupt stuff, I think that there should be a way for like a report card or something. If the same officer or the same chief or whomever continuously gets complaints, then I think that should really be investigated. Why is there not someone who goes from city to city, state to state, who's not affiliated with that one city, who investigates and looks into a lot of these crimes? Because I think so many good old boy cities, they don't arrest the right people because they're friends with them, and they're, good old boys club is what I call it. I have seen it firsthand. And some things where I'm just shocked, and I'm like, how are you not in prison? Let alone they're like, sorry that, we played football together in the 3rd grade. I'm not arresting him. So I think that there should be someone who makes sure that doesn't happen. If you're going to be on the side of the law, then Johnny over here, who continuously is in and out of jail, shouldn't just continuously be let go because he's friends with these people. So
yeah, that's exactly right. One of the instigators in your circumstance was a violent offender who has been let back out onto the street to offend again and again and again and again.
Yes.
And at some point, they're going to get someone killed with those policies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that I just think that the negligence from the police, I don't know if they just don't want to deal with them, and they're like, $200 bond, just get out of here. I don't want to deal with you, or what's going on, but it definitely should be tightened. And they shouldn't be let out over and over and over again.
In closing, I would like to ask you what your message is to other mothers, to other daughters, to other grandmothers, to other individuals who saw what happened to you and is thinking, well, I'm going to be next, right? What's your message to them? What do you want to see happen?
I just want to say that there is light in darkness, and that, what happened was horrible. And I know you've been afraid for a long time. So I think I want to see you guys all protected and safe and be able to keep your children safe. So I think now is the time for all of us to come together, and the more that you think hiding or not using your voice will protect you. It won't. Right now is the time that you are protected to be able to use your voice, and you won't be shut down by the bullies, and you won't be smeared. Let them smear me. That's okay. Just all of you come along and come into the light, because it's been dark for so long.
And what is your biggest, in closing here, what is your biggest takeaway from this entire experience?
It has just changed me. It actually has restored my faith in God. I know that he has a purpose for me, and I know he has a purpose for so many people now to come and try and just get rid of all of the crime and the hate. And sorry, could you ask the question again, because I forget what I was saying?
Yeah, of course. Just what has been the major revelation through all of this? You've gone through something horrific, but also you've provided a lot of light and a lot of beauty in this, in the darkness. And
I just want to say, if I can be at peace in my soul, and not be filled with hate and not be filled with rage after what happened to me, I just beg of everyone also to, whatever's happened to you in your past that you're holding on to, that you're angry about, just let go. Let's move on. Let's just find reasons to be happy instead of finding reasons to be angry. So I think that's what I've really learned from this, is that if I can be hopeful, which you guys can too. So, come on, let's just be happy. So that's it.
On a personal note, I know that you and I have gotten to speak over the phone, and we've gotten to know each other, and you're just a beautiful soul, and you're a beautiful person, and being able to turn the evil that happened to you into good is an act of God, and it is an act of faith, and it is light in a dark place. And it's just been an absolute honor from this audience, and from what we've been able to do to help, but also to be able to simply tell your story and give you a platform to speak truth. It's just been an absolute honor, Holly. And thank you for your bravery through all of this.
Oh yeah. And thank you. It's an honor to be a part of your show and meet you, and just to say thanks for being an incredible human as well. So,
Holly, you're an inspiration, and we know that sometimes you don't know when God's going to choose you, and just know that we all have your back. And thank you for sharing your story. God bless you.
Thank you. Yes, God bless you. Thank you.
Hard to watch. We have a show that does memes, and we have a show that has salt that lib, makes fun of things, and we do our very best to integrate some comedy and some entertainment value into what we're doing, and to have a good laugh here. And I think that attracts a lot of people to the programming. Frankly, we don't like to yell our faces off, scream and rant and rave and be nihilist and black pill. But the flip side of that is that we've got to be able to do good. And we live in a sunken world, and we live in a darkened time, and we live in a place that needs light, and you've provided that light. Look at this. Even since Holly has been on the program and been speaking in that interview, which is just gut-wrenching, frankly, was the most single emotional interview I've ever done, and it just ripped my heart out. But the fundraiser's gone up 10 grand for Holly. She's a real person, and she's really going to fight. Instead of evaporating and slinking off into the bushes like anybody else would do here, Holly's going to use these funds to fight and fight back. Fight back against the city of Cincinnati. Fight back against those who allowed this to happen to her and then left her for dead. One of the most shocking things that Holly tells us is that the cops that showed up to her attempted murder didn't question her. They didn't care. You're just a dumb white lady who was beat within an inch of your life. You probably deserved it. What cops were they? Why don't we get their badge numbers? What police officer showed up, saw a lady bleeding out in the street, and said, you deserved it, not even going to take your information? They didn't even offer to drive her to the hospital. They let her take an Uber. Members of the city council saying Collie deserved it. These people are monsters. They're goblins. They're demons. This woman is a demon. Victoria Parks is her name. A literal demon. Here's her photo. She's a demon. You're a demon. You're a demon. And we rebuke you on this program, and we can show who America really is. We're not going to allow this in our nation. We built this country, and we're going to create a country that has law and order and will protect the Hollies of the world, because everybody who has a daughter, and I happen to have two, every man who has a wife or a mother, and you all do, does not want this fate to befall their mother, sister, wives, or daughters, or anyone, or big balls for that matter. And so the Give, Send, Go is pinned in the description of this video. We're going to close this down. There's no reason to run this for weeks and weeks. We're just going to close it down by the end of the week and just be done. But it is just continuing to grow as people hear the story. Holly's going to be doing Fox News shows and Glenn Beck and so on. But she wanted to speak to your channel first. And I say your channel because it's our channel together that we're building to do this. And, you know, we're going to get off it. Right? The world will spin, but we'll be happy for this season because we were able to make a true difference in the fabric of this country and help someone who desperately needed it. And she's very thankful, and those clips will ring in my ears for a very long time. Holly breaking down in tears and sobbing and thanking you. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're thankful for all of our partners. Patriot Mobile is one of them. We're thankful for all of our partners who help us deliver this work as we head out from the studio to go expose some of the individuals like Jasmine Crockett, who wants racialized violence, Jasmine Crockett wants this country to be a street filled with Hollies, like battered and bruised and dead, left for dead on the side of the road because they were in the wrong neighborhood or just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Jasmine Crockett wants that. You can hear her constantly saying that. She called Donald Trump an ape yesterday. Did you know this? Called Donald Trump a monkey yesterday. Yeah, we don't want that. We're going to go out tomorrow, and we're going to expose Jasmine Crockett and prepare. We'll be releasing this video. We're going to cook on it. We're going to release this video on Sunday. We're going to expose Jasmine Crockett, so set your notifications. Who will be traveling with us? Patriot Mobile. How will we be filming some of our content? Patriot Mobile. Who will be with us every step of the way? We're going to 3 different cities. We're going to expose Barack Obama as well. Get ready. We're prepared to cook here. We're also going to be flying in some fighter jets. So that's going to be awesome. We're going to do 3 days, and it's going to be rocking. We're going to bring it all to you. We're going to take you along with us, and it'll be our Patriot Mobile devices that deliver. Patriot Mobile is available on all 3 major networks. They connect with us. I was amazed. We were in Alligator, Alcatraz. Klein was like blown away. Klein was like, how are you sending in content? We were in the middle of one of the most remote places on earth, the middle of the Everglades in Florida, and we were able to connect and send in content. So we are proud to be partnering with Patriot Mobile in the streets, ladies and gentlemen. Their 100% US-based customer service team can help you switch today. They're the only Christian conservative wireless provider in America. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code Benny to get a free month of service. Switch today, patriotmobile.com/Benny, or call 972-PATRIOT. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, very interesting. President Trump has announced his successor. Did he really? Yesterday? Whoa! This is cool. Something that we've often mused about, and someone who I'm very interested in getting. You know, we've reached out to JD's team. I'd love to have, you know, he sounded off on Holly in Cincinnati. I know he's from Cincinnati and from that area. We spoke with his brother-in-law yesterday. But JD's been just doing a killer job as vice president, and Donald Trump has all but anointed him at this point. Trump says J.D. Vance would be the favored 2028 Republican presidential nominee, and that he and Marco would be an unstoppable force. What do you believe? Do you think that that's true? I think Marco Rubio has done an unbelievable job, and this is no shade on Marco. No shade on Marco, because he's like the dog catcher and the garbage man at the White House and everything. He's probably the official White House chef at this point. Marco Rubio is probably the single most complicated. I mean, how many departments does he run at this point? He's the National Archivist. Did you know this? It's the National Archivist and Secretary of State. And he's in charge of Doge and whatever, he's in charge of the Institute of Peace and all of it. How many things does Marco have at this point? Anyway, very successful. The point is that I'm a big Tulsi fan. And this is no shade on Marco. Both of them have been on this program. Marco's been on, Tulsi's been on. I'm just like, I don't know. Do you think that J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio? Let me know in the chat. J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio? Trump thinks it's J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. Because here's President Trump yesterday saying, let's freaking go, J.D. and Marco.
You said this morning that you probably won't be running for a third term. This weekend, Secretary of State Rubio said that he thought J.D. Vance would be a great nominee. You could clear the entire Republican field right now. Do you agree that the heir apparent to MAGA is J.D. Vance?
Well, I think most likely, in all fairness, he's the vice president. I think Marco is also somebody that maybe would get together with J.D. in some form. I also think we have incredible people, some of the people on the stage right here. So it's too early, obviously, to talk about it, but certainly he's doing a great job, and he would be probably favored at this point.
I love when Trump lets on more than he intends to. You can always see it. Trump goes, yeah, let's read. Yeah, I'm sure there's polling out on this, right? Hey, Alex, grab me some polling on this. Let's see. They've clearly polled this. Like, where exactly is J.D. Vance in the recent polling? I saw a hysterical poll that had like Donald Trump above Jasmine Crockett, I think, for 2028. But give me something good. Let's end on a high note here. Vice President J.D. Vance would be favored to secure the Republican presidential nomination in 2028, President Trump said on Tuesday. Trump was at the South Court Auditorium where he signed an executive order to create the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics Task Force. Senior Fox News White House correspondent Peter Doocy asked him who is his heir apparent. You could clear the field right now by saying J.D. Vance. His answer, Trump noted that Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vance would be a formidable ticket. Well, I think most likely, in all fairness, he's the vice president. And Marco is also somebody who I think would get together with JD in some form. Well, all right. I think it's like when you're talking to a waiter at a restaurant. Like, if you want to know what to order on the menu, just like ask a waiter, like straight up off the dome, like, give me your top request, like, and give me your top suggestion. And the waiters who like see how the food is cooked and what it looks like, they'll tell you, just order that, okay? And off the top of the dome, Trump goes, JD and Marco, boom. That's just what he says off the top. So here we go. It would be, I also think we have incredible people, some of the people on stage right here. So it's too early, but obviously I don't want to talk about it. He's doing a great job, says Donald Trump. Well, you just did talk about it, Trump. And here is the, this is great from Don Jr. Trump has equal odds as Kamala Harris in 2028. That's really fun. So Vance is up here at 28%, fine. Newsom and AOC are in the low teens. Buttigieg, okay. And then you have Trump and Kamala at both at 4%, even though Donald Trump is constitutionally not allowed to run again. Some people debating that. Yeah, some people debating. All right. What is not up for debate, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you are a Trump fan, you should go to the Trump store. We will be staying at a Trump property. We'll be heading to Chicago. There's a little Trump store in the lobby there. I always pick up some, let's just say some souvenirs for my children whenever we're at Trump. They like the Trump chocolate bars. They have little golden chocolate bars, little stuffies, little bears wearing Trump sweaters. Anyway, the Trump store is an excellent place to shop. If you're able to stay at the hotels, I couldn't recommend it enough. They are absolutely the pinnacle of luxury. But you can get that luxury shipped directly to your home. It's absolutely second to none. Everything feels intentional, elevated, and deeply American. Imagine bringing a piece of the Trump experience into your house. You can go to trumpstore.com. It's the official online store of the Trump Organization. It isn't just a store, it's a statement. Sleek, structured hats, bold, patriotic apparel, and elegant drinkware, luxury home goods, items that are crafted with care, strength, pride, and timeless style. My kids last night, I should ask my wife for a photo. The Trump team sent us these teddy bears with little Trump sweaters on. And boy, it was great. They slept with them last night, held them close, and they're not letting go of them. So anyway, no matter who you're buying for, the Trump Store has something for you. Go to trumpstore.com and use my code Benny15 at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's trumpstore.com. One more time, trumpstore.com. Shop smart, shop proud, shop American. And I was looking at my phone because I was like, should I text my wife right now to get the photo of the kids with the bears? Because they're like attached to the hip. But we'll post it later. It's great. They love it. There it is. There's the actual bear. You can pop it up. Yeah, hold on. I'll show you the photo of the bear that they sent. This is the one that has the little Trump sweater on it. Yeah, that's the one. That's now straight up attached. They love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Top Democrat Adam Schiff is under criminal investigation after Trump called him a scam artist. Here's what happened. Adam Schiff is committing mortgage fraud because Adam Schiff has multiple homes. He has multiple homes because Adam Schiff is somebody who grifts off the taxpayers and donors. He can afford lavish properties all across America. That's interesting because his salary is like $100,000 a year. I'm not saying that that's not a great salary. What I'm saying is like that's not enough to have a ton of different homes, but most importantly, you have to list one home as your primary residence because there are tax benefits, mortgage benefits, write-offs, homestead exemptions, and so on with your primary residence. Then every other residence is either an investment property or a rental property or your second home, and you don't get the same benefits, okay? That's just the way that it is. But Adam Schiff listed multiple homes as his primary residence, therefore getting all of the tax benefits. This is the exact same thing that Letitia James did. Oh, baby. So now President Trump is cooking, and Adam Schiff is officially under criminal investigation. Democrat enemy of Donald Trump is under criminal investigation for mortgage fraud after the president called him a scam artist who belongs in prison. Senator Adam Schiff is accused of misrepresenting which home he used as a primary residence. A Trump administration insider told Fox News host Laura Ingraham that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland is considering pressing charges. The Department of Justice last month received a criminal referral from the Federal Housing Finance Authority, alleging that Schiff falsified bank documents and property records to secure better loan terms. In 2011, an affidavit signed by Adam Schiff that has been posted by President Trump on social media declared his home in Montgomery County, Maryland, his primary residence. But as recently as 2023, his condominium in Burbank, California, he owns a whole condominium, is also listed as primary residence. Okay. Schiff and his wife purchased a Maryland home for $800,000 in 2003 with a $600,000 mortgage. It's a pretty penny. The rate is set at 5.62% over 30 years on the basis that it was the primary and principal residence. Based on media reports, Adam Schiff, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms, impacting payments from 2003 to 2019 on the Potomac, Maryland-based property, says Director William Pulte. As a regulator of Fannie and Freddie and home and bank loans, we take very seriously allegations of mortgage fraud and criminal activity. Such misconduct jeopardizes the safety and soundness. And remember, nobody is above the law. Isn't it just delicious that this is the exact kind of crimes that they were going up against Trump with? Oh, you falsified documents. Oh, these are not, you didn't claim your business practices correctly, and so on and so on. No one is above the law. Letitia James and Adam Schiff can come get it. Here's the Adam Schiff news. Here we go.
Of a Trump administration source telling The Angle that a criminal investigation of Adam Schiff is underway, conducted by U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland for possible charges involving mortgage fraud. Now, this follows the story we broke last month when the Federal Housing Finance Agency sent a criminal referral to the DOJ alleging that Schiff, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms. In a 2011 affidavit signed by the then California congressman, he certified that a property in Montgomery County, Maryland, is his primary residence. He also owns a condo in Burbank, California, which he's also claimed is his primary residence, and said so in 2023 during his campaign for Senate.
I think just about every member of Congress has a residence in their state and a residence back in D.C. since we're in session much of the week. And people make a family decision where they're going to have their kids. But our principal residence, our primary residence is in California. It always has been and always will be.
Ruh-roh. Well, Senator Schiff has not responded to us about these allegations, but we were able to find a statement that his campaign spokesperson gave to CNN back in 2023. She said that the Burbank condo is his primary residence, but Adams, California and Maryland addresses have been listed as primary residences for loan purposes because they're both occupied throughout the year and to distinguish them from a vacation property. Well, the law does not work that way. Let me just say that, but nice try. Look, it's anyone's guess what happens next, but we're going to stay on this story.
What is that old butchered statement that MLK used to use, that the long arc of history bends towards justice? Seems to be happening right now, and it's very exciting. Man, I'm just getting so many emails right now about Holly and so many people saying that this message and this story has affected them. It is our great honor to bring this salt and light to you. Just to prove it, I just got a message from a man named Ryan who just emailed me and is talking about he's just been following Holly's story, and he just thought it'd be another dark tale in a collapsed society, and then watching us all together through the power of goodness in this country and in our faith come together and change Holly's life. It's had a profound effect on him. For now, my dearest Holly, he writes, continue to learn and bring light, and you're sharing it with all of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, is part of his extensive message that I was just emailed. And I saw so many in the chat talking about this work, and it is because of you, and we thank you. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. And so thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following along. Just by watching the stream or by downloading our podcast, if you could please potentially become a subscriber to our podcast, we'd really appreciate it. Just by downloading our podcast, all of these things are free. Watching is free. Downloading the podcast is free. These things help support us and our work and allow us to fund the team, right, that creates these campaigns and promotes these campaigns. And we have some big news coming. It's amazing how far this has all gone. It's been wild. So we thank you. Again, we will be on the road for the next 2 days. That doesn't mean we won't go live. If there's an emergency, we probably will. We've done more with less, that's for sure. But right now we're planning on cooking out on the road and out on the streets, and we'll be bringing you that Jasmine Crockett documentary on Sunday. This Sunday, get ready. Our verse of the day, ladies and gentlemen: may God set our feet steady upon the path. From Proverbs 4:18. But the path of the just is like the shining sun that shines ever brighter unto the perfect day. Doesn't it just feel like that when you know that God is in control and that he's guiding this nation and he's guiding you? When the doors are opening, God wants the doors to open, then the path will look like the shining sun. God wants the doors to close. They will close and close hard and break your nose. Got a lot of broken noses in my lifetime. And that's just the way that it is, right? We talked about me fleeing with my family from Washington, D.C. And that was just a closed door, right? I have something better for you here, right? Like, go and have faith. and the path will open like the shining sun, and it shines ever brighter onto the perfect day. Thank you for helping make this moment very perfect for us, and to bring light into darkness with Holly's story. It's been an absolute privilege. And onward, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, in the end, we win. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Tale of men who answer the calls. Stand up to the animals. Witness the rise of big balls. Lift them high, lift them proud. Lift up the men with big balls. Big balls. Guardians of angels. Stand up to the animals. Big balls. But guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day? What day it is? It's hump day! Hey. Get it on! Hey. Hump
day! Woo! The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind. The salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun. We sail for number one. Show come to mind. The salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun. We sail for number one. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.